Hello, fellow traders. Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, June the 18th. The year is 2024. Let's talk trading. Trading with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. So, traders, right before the video, when I called Walmal, he was in a trade and he just got out. And are you kicking yourself now, Walmal?
No, I mean, I got out. I mean, it hit the 95 and I got out at the 95. So, so it did what I got what I expected. But at the same time, I also said to you, once it breaks the 95, it's going to definitely go to the double O, and it's making it's making a march towards it right now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but I was
but
I was telling Walmart, I go, we got to talk about this. So Walmart, talk to traders. Let them know where you were, um, where you got in at.
sure, I got in at 82, and the reason why I got in at 82 is if you look at the chart from the previous hour, about let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six candles in. So it can be, yeah, I don't know what candle number it is, but six candles into the previous hour, and then you got one, two, three, four candles, maybe five candles in a row where it had put in, this basically what I call a shelf. Some people would call it support, I guess, but basically in my chart anyway, it started at 82.1, and and then these different lows that were going down were as high as 83.8. So basically about a pip and a half, pip and a half wide shelf there. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to go and jump in there. I'm going to go long here. It was, to me anyway, it looked like it was obvious that it wanted to go up. I didn't have a flip flop or anything like that there. And I was below indicator too, which is the EMA 5. But at the same time, what it had done is if you look a little bit further left of that, about 20 minutes further left of that, you'll notice that there was another shelf that was put in right at the 80 level, and then when it finally broke that shelf and came up, it ran all the way up to like 90. And I'm looking at this and saying, you know what, from the news event that happened now about 45 minutes ago, it went all the way up to the 95 level. It fell short just of 95. It turned around right at 95. But I'm saying, you know what, it's going to want to go back up there, test that area. So I had some reasons to get into the trade, and I went in. And then I said also the other thing that was nice about it was, at least on my chart, I'm getting a brand new H4 at the top of the hour. And I went in, 5 minutes to 6 minutes before the top of the hour. But, I'm looking at that new H4. It likes to go and move away from that H4. When it first opens up, that's just what it does. I don't know what other instruments do. They probably do the same thing, but I do know what the pound does. The pound runs away from the H4 open. One way or the other, it runs away from it. And because we got a kind of momentum pushing it upward, it just made sense. So I'm looking at it and saying that's a good opportunity. Also, at least on my charts, I don't know about you, Tiro, but the double O, the 2700 is basically the open of the day for me from my broker. So there's a lot of reasons why I want to go up to the 95 and probably up to the double O. And so that's the reason that's the reason why I took the trade.
Yeah, we're on the same broker, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, but where Hero was making fun of me and saying, why are you being so greedy, is the fact that what it would do is it'd run up to like 94, 5, 94.3, and then it would fall off and fall all the way back down to like 91 or even sometimes 90. And he said, are you being greedy? Are you being greedy there? Like, no, I've got a reason why I'm trying to stay in this trade. I know it's going to go to the 95. Everything screams it's going to go to the 95. And, and not that, and that's just based on, my acuity of watching the market over the years and everything, and my methodology. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. All it would take is, some clever guy out there in some bank going dropping, I don't know, $300 million to go and buy dollars as opposed to buying pounds. That's all it would have taken, and it would have taken that thing and blew my entire whatever up, right? But at the same time, I can't, I that's information. I'm not a, I can't go and read that. I have no idea if that's going to happen or not happen or whatever. No way for me to know. But what I do know is what the charts are telling me. Charts are telling me it's going to go to 95, and if it breaks the 95, it's going to go to the double O. That's what my chart's telling me. And that's exactly what it did. It finally broke the area where it was having problems at was 93.5. And once it broke that, not 90, yeah, not 93.5, on 94.5, I'm sorry. And once it broke that, it was going to go to the 95. And it was like 3 attempts in a row, over a very short period of time. And you go up there and you would just hit that 94.5 and turn around and, and you're making fun of me saying you're willing to go, and I think you said 2 pips, but it really was less than that. It was really, I was in a trade and I had already stacked up about 10 pips or so, and it's sort of like, you're willing to give up 10, 12 pips for 2 pips. In reality, it was actually a worse story than that. But really, what you really should say, you willing to go and give up 10, 12 pips for a half a pip?
Yeah, but it was, it's funny when you said, after I said that, you said something about the 95, and then I was really looking at the chart, and what I saw was, I basically saw an upward movement here where I think at the time it had already made those 3 attempts at breaking the 95 area. And then I said, oh, okay, I'm looking at indicator 2. I said, hey, you might as well stay in the trade till it changes. And then you said, well, no, I want I just want to get the 95. And then,
Right.
but I mean, just for the record, had you done that, you'd be getting out you would have gotten out right here about 98, 97.
You're absolutely right. I would have picked up an extra minimum of 3, but probably closer to 4 or 5 pips.
Right, either that or just punched out at the double O going, you know what?
Yep.
Or you would have exited on that flip flop box at 99. I mean, there was, if you just would have stuck with the what the chart was, but it was funny because I asked you. I asked you, had you made your core? You go, yeah, a long time ago. So basically, you were not that you're playing with house money, because once you put it in your bank, it's your money. So you were actually looking to just maximize the trade.
Exactly.
But
But the thing is, and here's something that maybe could be helpful to some traders, and I think this is the difference between the way you trade and I trade, and it doesn't make either one of us right. It just shows
we're different. Yeah.
We're different, exactly. I set plans as to what I'm going to do on the trade before I get into the trade, and I'm very, very strict with those plans. And what I mean by that is that, okay, I had a plan in my mind. I was going to get into this level at about 82, wherever it put me in, somewhere around 82. And my plan was to get out at 95, period. Even if the market was showing signs that it was going to run up more, no, I'm getting out at 95. And it was sort of like, it was a line in the sand, and I wasn't going to change it. And I do change it from time to time, but it's a very, very rare thing for me to change it. You, on the other hand, you're much better at this. You'll go and say, okay, it hit the line where I thought it was going to go. Let's see what it's doing now. Let's see if there's more shrimp to come out for me or not. And I'm usually I've gotten so invested in the trade at that point in time. It's sort of like, nope, I'm done. I got what I expected to get, and You asked me after I got out of trade, are you disappointed? Because, at that point, shortly thereafter, it did run up to the double O. And if you recall, I said no. And the
Well,
reason why
no, it hadn't gotten to the double O yet. I think it was right around 98 because
right.
it was right after I said I would just ride indicator 2, and you said, no, I've already gotten out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and so the difference is it isn't that I don't have a plan per se. I just have, exit rules. So for example, if I was, had been in the trade, I would have gotten out too, because once I see a one ball in front of me, it just seems like more times than not, it's going to turn around. So if I'm trading, with the 3-level ZZ indicator, it's like, especially if I've got a bunch of pips, it's like those one balls just seem to always, make it so price is going to reverse off of them. But if if I stay in it just a little bit and it becomes a 2-ball, that's when it starts to move. And so what happened is you see this 3-ball that just got put in. Well, before it was I think that it just went from 1 to 3, but it's also a 2. And that's when you see a 2 or 3, that's when you're going to get the nice move.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But, and I wasn't, I don't think I was implying you didn't have a plan. It's just that you have a different plan than the plan I have.
Right.
My plan is line in the sand, period, boom, done. Yeah. And your plan, is really to go and look at what's actually still occurring and to go and, make a decision at that point, as to what to do. And I guess for me, the reason why I have the line in the sand, I can't talk about why you do what you do, but I can talk about why I do what I do. But the reason why I do what I do is because I used to have a really bad habit of holding on to winning trades too long and then having it turn against me, and then actually turning a winning trade either into a losing trade or at least into a trade where I lose a bunch of what I potentially could have had. So I had made a decision a number of years ago that, okay, I'm going to go and plan out my trades from the perspective of looking at it like, train stations. And it's sort of like all I'm trying to do is get from, train station A to train station B. And it was funny, when I came into that realization, I know you use train stations as well, but I was sitting on the LIRR, which is the Long Island Railroad, and I was traveling home from New York City out onto Long Island, and I was sitting there, and I just got onto I changed trains at Jamaica, and anybody from New York would know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a big hub and big messy hub and whatever, and I got onto the train station at Jamaica, and I changed there because there was an express that was going to be coming through, and that express was running late. So I realized that, hey, I can get onto the express and I can take 20 minutes off my commute and take it all the way out to Hicksville in one stop. And that's what I did. And as I'm sitting on the train, and I was thinking about this and thinking about trading, and it was sort of like, this is sort of like trading. I just jumped from here to here, and no matter what I do now, I can't get off this train. This train is going to go from here to there, period. And that's it. I can't get out early, and because the train actually ends in Hicksville, I can't get off. I can't take it any further. And so I applied that thinking to trading as well, saying I'm going to go and say I'm going to implement, and that's where the idea for me anyway came along with the idea of putting lines on the chart every 10 pips. That's where my thinking of that came along from, and I basically started naming my lines as train stations.
Yeah.
And it keeps me structured.
Yeah.
I know we're almost out of time.
But go ahead, finish your thought.
But I know you said to me, why do you have all these lines on your chart? They're all horizontal lines, but they're every 5 pips and every 10 pips. And the reason why is because those are my train stations. Yeah. Those are my bus stops or train stations. And that's where you look at price, it goes from one to the other. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just get from one to the other.
So, fellow traders, as you can see, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One. Over.